Good morning, guys. Um, I haven't made a video before. Figured I'd start. Just jump right into it. Um, Hi, I'm Vandy Graff. Uh, I'm a white guy from Midwest, from the Chicagoland area. I'm what's called a centralist. I believe in a lot of things that both parties have. Um, Democrats call me a Republican. Republicans call me a Democrat. I don't care. I'm an independent. I believe in gun rights. I believe there should be a nationwide FOID card system. It works here in Illinois. I don't believe there should be handgun bans because all you're doing is turning felons loose. I mean, you're letting people who shouldn't have guns, they're going to break the laws anyway. They don't care what the laws are. So basically, all you're doing is you're denying a citizen's right to defend themselves. I believe there should be health care for everyone. Maybe not paid for everyone, but there should be affordable health care. Um, I'm not going to sit there and tell a company how to run their business. However, when you have a simple injury that costs well over $5,000 to $10,000 to treat, and that's a problem. Um, I am the only person in my family without insurance. I can't afford insurance for myself, and I'm healthy. I don't have diabetes. I don't have heart issues. I don't have any pre-existing conditions. But to get me insurance is going to be about $300 to $400 a month. And if it's $300 or $400 a month for insurance for me or food or clothes for my kids, I'm gonna choose the food and clothes. Um, anyway, today's topic I want to talk about. Um, we have senators from both sides of the street who spend more time fighting with each other than actually accomplishing things. Um, Perfect example. We have anytime there's a police shooting, we have one side that condemns the officer and one side that condemns the person involved with the officer. Whether it be the officer is the one that's shot or the person is shot by the officer. Um, Too many times we have these people judged by the media before they get anywhere close to a trial, before they're even done being booked. They're judged. We don't know all the facts. We don't know what happened. Yet we're passing judgment. Um, we have a media that will do whatever they can for a story. They don't care who it hurts. They don't care what it does. They don't care if they're wrong. They want the story. They want the ratings. They want the attention. Perfect example. Two different sides of the street. One of them wasn't even involved in an officer. We had the Trayvon Martin George Zimmerman incident. George Zimmerman's never once identified himself as a white male. He identifies as a Mexican. He likes to be portrayed as a white male. Um, then we have LaQuaine McDonald in Chicago, uh, who was shot by an officer who took months to be charged. Yet initial reports were with the Trayvon Martin. Oh, he was such a sweet, innocent boy, and it came out that he was bashing Zimmerman's head. Um, and then we have the LaQuaine McDonald of, oh well, the officer was defending himself and he pulled a knife, and then we see a video of him getting shot 16 times. First and foremost, these are two people. I don't care what they did. These are two people who tragically lost their lives. Their families are in mourning. Even now, years later, that void will never be filled. There are two people that died, two people that lived that have to deal with the consequences, whether it be guilt, survivor's guilt, anything. We have people that passed away, and we have people that are their survivors. The ones that are directly involved in the confrontation, Zimmerman and um, Jason and then their families, the victims' families. The I mean, just too many times we're stuck blaming and pointing fingers before we have all the evidence. Now, I'm very pro blue. I support my officers. I support my firefighters. I support any and all first responders, military, veterans, etc. Doesn't mean I support them unconditionally, though. There are some bad apples out there. But that statistically, they're less than 1% of the force, of the people out there doing their jobs. When you have an officer every day, they put on that uniform, they don't know if they're going to be the ones taking it off that night. They don't know if they're going to be coming home to their families at night. They could be ending up in the morgue. We're letting a media determine our actions. If the news decides to say that there's an officer involved shooting of an innocent person running away, there's going to be a lot of hatred towards the police officers. Ones that had absolutely nothing to do with it, ones that aren't even in the same state. There's going to be backlash. And we let it happen. We are just as guilty as these news outlets, as they are. We let them tell us what to think. We don't think for ourselves anymore. I have several police officers that I call friends. I drive. I see an officer, I wave to them. I see a fire truck, I wave to them. I see an ambulance, I wave to them. These are people who sacrifice their lives every day for us. These are people who, when there's danger and everyone else is running away, they are running into the danger to protect people. And yet they are the ones who are hurt the most. It used to be an honorable profession, being a journalist. Now it's, hey, who can make the most outrageous story? And if it's wrong, we're sorry. We were wrong. Okay, here's the next story. Months are spent spinning the web of lies. Gets a brief 15 to 20 second apology if they're wrong. Yet people's lives are affected forever. Look at Zimmerman. Can't get a job. Or if he can, he's recognized and he quits. Now, I know there's going to be people who are going to correct me, who are going to be mad at me for what I'm saying. That's fine. I'm just one of millions of U.S. citizens who has their own opinion. I know I don't know all the facts of the case. Unfortunately, hindsight is 20/20, is what they say. But unfortunately, that's not always true. There's a lot of things that we don't know, that we will never know, because one, we weren't there, and people will say what they think happened, and sometimes it's not always the truth. Anyway, I'm going to end this. I'm going to go punch in for work now. And I just want to leave you guys with this. Whether you watch this video or not, I doubt anybody's going to watch it. But for God's sake, please, let's think for ourselves. Just because we see something on TV or on the internet, or we hear it from our best friend's mother's boyfriend, doesn't make it true. Doesn't make it true. If you hear something that gets you riled up, gets you fired up, gets your blood boiling, before you act, look into it. And I'll admit, I make that mistake too. I don't always think before I do. I don't always think before I talk. Am I better now than I was 10 years ago? In regards to that, yes. Um, am I as good as I'm going to get? No. Every day I'm learning, every day I'm changing. Any day you spend still on this earth, still breathing, living, make it a good day. Learn something new. Make yourself better than you were yesterday. We don't know if we're going to be here tomorrow. We don't know if we're going to be here in an hour. I could die, and as soon as I push stop, I could die. And this will be the last thing anybody ever hears from me. Or I could live another 70 years. We don't know. But I'm not going to stop trying to get better. You shouldn't either. We start working on ourselves and our relationships with people, working to make them better. Our children will benefit. Our grandchildren will benefit. We will benefit. We can't keep fighting with each other just because somebody tells us to. We need to learn how to love one another again and work with one another and be willing to work. Yes, I've heard this saying, compromise just means that nobody's happy. I say bull. Compromise means I get some of what I want, you get some of what you want. It might not be everything I want, but it's not going to be everything you want. We both give a little, and we both get a little. And that's what makes this country great. Yes, I'm not a big fan of the guy in the White House. I wasn't a big fan of his main opponent. I'll be honest, I voted for one of the smaller people. I knew there wasn't much of a chance, but I'm not going to sit there and say, "Hey, I'm going to vote for one of the top two because those are the only ones that really get a choice, or that really have a chance." No, everybody's got a chance, but I made a compromise. I knew there's a risk of having somebody in office that I didn't want, but I stuck to my beliefs. And unfortunately, the first several months, actually even now, both sides of the street still refuse to compromise. It's still a lot of name calling. It's a lot of hatred. And we as the general public, we're the ones that are suffering. All the time that's spent fighting back and forth, if our politicians actually took the time to work together, imagine what they would do. Because they're no longer spending their time fighting with each other. They're working. They're doing what we've told them to do. So anyway, with that, I'm going to sign off. Anyone who watches this, I'll try to do another video in a couple of days. Like I said, doubt anybody's going to ever see this, but at least it'll be a way for me to talk and just get some things out of my head. So you guys have a good day.